Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Atomic Salt Live Show. This is the live show where we're going to discuss everything in the tabletop hobby world. I am Wild Chevy, and as always, I'm joined by my buddy Casey. Casey, how are you this week?
I'm as pleased as punch to be here, Alan.
Well, that's always good.
So, I came off of a big win this week. Just crushed my opponent. How do you say it? I crushed my opponent, drove his forces before me, and listened to the lamentations of their women.
So you went all Conan?
It felt like it. Like, have you ever beat somebody so bad that you almost kind of feel bad about beating them? But there's that little kernel deep down inside where you're like, but I'm still happy I beat him. Like, I wouldn't trade this for a loss. That's kind of the way I feel. Do you feel that way?
Have I ever felt that way? Or no? I mean, it's always good to have a loss. It teaches you things about the people you play against.
That's good that you can accept a loss like that.
For those who don't know, what have you done this week in the hobby world, Casey?
I have gotten no painting done, so let's just get that out of the way. There was no painting. I've been trying to do the airbrush stuff, but I ran out of some supplies, but the order's taking a little longer than I anticipated, so I'm kind of stalled out on that. Did get in a big game of 40K a couple days ago on Friday. So it was me and my buddy Darren versus Austin and you. We each brought 1,500 points. So each side had 3,000 points, and we rolled off for the mission. It was one of our typical Dawn of Wars. It was the place down six objectives. Really about as vanilla K as you can play it. So I brought my Tau. Darren brought his Blood Angels. Austin brought his Chaos Space Marines, and you brought
Grey Knights.
So, which was really hilarious seeing Grey Knights and Chaos Space Marines on the same side.
Well, I mean, originally we were thinking, this with the Tau Blood Angel matchup.
So it's just so unholy that you had to side with Chaos to.
This was a battle that had some smack talk coming into it, and somehow we went from a 1v1 to a 2v2. So.
Well, it's always fun to get as many people around the table as you can realistic, yeah, it's like Volt, the more you hook together, the better it gets.
Huh. And as you were alluding to earlier in your coy manner, yes, the dice can be fickle. They either love you or they hate you.
Yeah. And I will say we anticipated. So, all right, so let's talk about this. So each side had set this up ahead of time, right? So each side had a rough idea of what the other side was about, what they were bringing. So we got to kind of tailor our lists. So Darren likes his drop pods and wanted to bring his Night Titan because he hasn't gotten to play with it much. I was proxying in a couple of Riptides because I'm kind of exploring bringing those things in. We were 90% sure you would bring your Grey Knights because we know that you like them more than any of the other armies that you have. And I also had a sneaking suspicion that you were going to bring your formation, let you deep strike in on turn 1 because I know you like that formation. Austin was kind of a toss-up. I didn't know if he was going to bring his Orcs or his Chaos Marines. He kind of goes back and forth. So
Well,
We figured
yes.
whatever would kill Space Marines would kill orcs equally well. So we
Well,
basically
we're talking about going back and forth. You have Tau. We also thought you were going to bring your Space Wolves. So you were very undecided too for us.
yeah, I think Darren is a mystery to nobody. You can just about write down his list. That being said, it's a good list. It's fun not to be on the receiving end of it.
So yes, it was a fun game. Both sides got a nice little clash. Casey got off some lucky shots, and it turned out to be a fun evening. But yeah, I mean, so that was all for you, right? For this week for hobby.
Yeah, actually, hold on. Let me show you. I've got some pictures here of it. So I was playing around, and these have been doctored up just a little bit here. So we have a bunch of steeds of Slanesh going after the Blood Marine or the Blood Angels up on top. So this is just me playing with filters and cropping and stuff. This was a custom-made Mauler Fiend about to devour some poor little tacticals. This is the charge that never happened. We've got a bunch of Death Company with jump packs ready to. Was this a strike squad?
I don't remember. What that you got a filter on there, so I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah, those were the guys that you deep struck back behind our lines, and rolled very poorly with. The last stand of the Chaos Marines. And then this is my favorite one. I think this picture turned out nice. It was great because we had these poor little Tau Fire warriors who were just sitting on an objective. And all of a sudden this big scary Dread Knight comes stomping up to him. And he's just getting ready to either hit him with a flamethrower or he's going to charge him. Either way, he's going to do something nasty. But right at the last second, Darren's Imperial Knight Titan comes charging in from the side and gets into close combat with it. And so it's almost like this Godzilla movie, right? For these poor little Tau, these two giant robots, just duking it out at close range. So I don't know. I thought that picture turned out neat. So in the end, it was a solid win for us. I had fun though. I'm gonna go buy some Riptides now. Now that
Yes, playing with cups does not look well with your fully painted army.
And I feel guilty playing with them too, but at the same time, I'm not going to go dropping that kind of money on units that I've only heard about secondhand. So I've proxied them twice. I won't proxy them anymore. So we'll see about getting the real deal.
All right, so let's go to our main topic of the evening, Gen Con. Indianapolis is this coming week. 4 days of fun, and a lot of our favorite companies are going to be down there.
Right. So, as we know, Gen Con is a time when a lot of people show off all their new stuff, or they do kind of like some exclusive things. And it's one of those times when you really just wish that you lived closer to the Midwest. The whole rest of the time of the year, you're really glad you don't live like in Ohio or Indiana or anywhere in that area, except for the month of August. And then you're desperate to try and find someone who's going.
Yeah, it's definitely a time of ninja shoppers and asking your friends of friends who's going and what you can get bought for yourself.
Yeah. So if you have a ninja shopper, Congratulations.
Yeah, I know a few people going. I've begged and pleaded with them, so we'll see if I get anything out of it.
Well, good luck. I, I think I'm going to pass on a lot of this stuff this year just because I don't have any good ninjas going out there. So I have a couple of tenuous ones, but then they would have to ship it themselves and it would just be a mess.
Well,
But
and then a lot of these companies too are doing their exclusives not only at Gen Con, but also through their web stores. So it does make it, you're not missing out if you're not going. You still have a chance.
well, let's show off just a couple of things that some companies are bringing, huh?
All right.
So do you want to go first or you want me to go first?
You can go first.
Awesome. Let's do it. First and foremost, Weird is got a ton of stuff for Malifaux.
Yeah, they've got like their whole range of releases for the next 6 months available.
Yep. And we've got a whole bunch of new boxes coming out. So as we see here, we've got like their trolls. They've got it's called Explosive Solutions. Looks kind of like a magic troop going on here.
Those are goblins, Casey.
Goblins. I don't actually play Malifaux. I own stuff for it, but I don't actually play it.
You need to play Malifaux.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. I kind of like the goblin and the luchador mask in the background throwing the other guy. That's the one thing you may not always like the weird aesthetic, and I agree with that because a lot of times I don't. But you have to appreciate just how good that their plastic kits really are. I mean, granted, they come in like a million pieces, but they're just incredibly dynamic. And scrolling down here, Guilty as Charged. We have now we're getting back into the aesthetic I'm not so hot on. We have 3 guilty people in the process of being murdered, which is awesome, I guess. And some other people in the background.
These, and for those of you who haven't played Malifaux or Weird, these are all crew boxes. So you pick up one of these, you can start your own crew right then and there.
Again, don't really love this aesthetic. It's not my style of thing, but at the same time, it is pretty darn impressive with what they're doing. And then finally, we've got Smoke and Mirrors. So probably the least dynamic of all of them, but probably also the tamest in terms of style. So a bunch of lovely ladies and mannequins. I don't know anything about them, but you have mechanical doves, so it sounds like you should probably be able to do some John Woo type stuff with this.
I mean, it's weird. They're finishing up their Wave 2 stuff, so this is a lot of stuff from Wave 2. We're going to see a lot more stuff available on their web store at weirdminiatures.com. And if you make a big enough order, you get some exclusive stuff. So it's a good time to buy if you're looking to get into Malifaux or if you want to add to your crews. But, I mean, you guys out there watching, I mean, are you a Weird player, Malifaux stuff? Are you going to be at Gen Con buying anything? Let us know. We'd love to hear from you, too. Anything else, Casey?
Do you want to take one, or should I go again?
Let's see. So we know Corvus Belli is going to be there. They've already announced some of their stuff. There still could be some secrets coming out, but they will have U.S. Ariadna, the limited edition Van Zant resculpt. Angel will be there. They've got seminars. Both Angel will have one, and so will Bostria for Infinity. So we'll see probably a lot of stuff from those seminars alluding to the future. Hopefully we'll see another art book too from On Hell, and hopefully we'll see some more stuff coming down the line from the Infinity guys, possibly the more about the RPG that should be coming out soon.
Yeah, as far as we've heard, the RPG should be coming out end of August, maybe September. So I'm excited to see that. I'm not sure if they'll be bringing anything new that we haven't seen yet, but without a doubt, with Carlos's presentation, we're going to get a bunch of new previews.
Yeah, Modifius will be there at Gen Con, but so far all they've announced is that they'll have their new John Carter RPG, and they'll have their booth and all that. So nothing as far as Infinity, but Modifius will be there to show off some wares.
Yep. So, all right, so let's jump into, I've got another screenshot here pulled up. So this one is for Wild West Exodus. This is probably for the dark. I'm not sure either Warrior Nation or Dark Warrior Nation, but I believe that this is actually a miniature within a miniature. So you'll be able to pull the little chief out from there and run him single. You'll be able to place him inside of that. And I just got to say, I think this is cool. I love Wild West Exodus. There's something about like steampunk Wild West that works for me. I hate steampunk in general, but when you put cowboys and Indians in it, it starts to make sense to me. Especially just the size of this. This is probably taller than most of the other stuff that they've done in the past. And I just think it's fantastic. And I believe that this one will be limited to Gen Con. So, and they've only have a limited set of quantities of these. So if you want it, you better work to get it.
Yep. And I mean, that's from Outlaw Miniatures, kind of an offshoot of Battle Foam. Battle Foam will be having a very limited edition case there at Gen Con. Here we have their limited edition coffin case. There's only going to be 10 of these made, so if you want one, Gen Con's where you're going to get it. But it's a cool, nifty little exclusive you can get.
Oh my, that is the most impractical shaped case I think I've ever seen. And people will buy it, and it'll sell out to the first 10 people who get there.
I mean, it'd be cool to... you bring that to the game store, people think you either have a Tommy gun or your Malifaux line.
Or too much disposable income.
There's nothing that's too much disposable income in this hobby.
True enough. I just wonder if you can get different things cut for that.
Probably. Or, I mean, it's Battle Foam. They do a really good job at custom foam cutting. So.
Yep. And if you're one of the people who bought one of those things, then you would assume that they would work with you a little bit. So, another great rumor that I've heard, I don't have any kind of links or any kind of pictures for this, but Mercs Miniatures, the people who do Mercs, obviously, they also do Myth. If you're going to the show and you pledged in their Kickstarter for the Myth 2.0 printed materials, be ready to bring home some extra stuff. They're not guaranteeing it, but they are hoping and planning to try and have all of their materials there, all the new 2.0 stuff. So not plastic, but if you've got the new cards, the new rule book, the mission packs, things like that, those should be ready by then, and they should have them there.
That'd be good. That should get that game off the ground, get more people playing into it again.
Mm-hmm. And another big rumor I heard from them is they might have 2.0 of Mercs out. So, which I think is huge because I've been waiting for that. Like, That rule set has been supposed to be coming out for years now, and I love the idea of the game. I love the way it plays, but I wasn't going to go jumping into it when I knew a new set of rules was about to drop.
Well,
And
now you've got like 14 different armies to choose from, so now's the best time to get into it.
nope, the best time to get into it is when the new rules are out and those boxes are done in plastic, because that is supposed to happen before the end of the year.
We'll have to wait and see.
So, all right, what do you got?
Let's see. At Gen Con, Hawk War Games will be sharing a booth, I believe, again with Soda Pop Miniatures. So hopefully we'll be seeing some new stuff for Drop Zone Commander. Maybe even a hint of what we'll see for Drop Fleet Commander. So that'll be awesome for those of you who like to play the miniature ship games or miniature battle games. And then,
I would really love to see, because we've started to see some previews of some of the units. If you've seen around, like some of the miniatures for Drop Fleet Commander is starting to come out. So I'm really, really hoping that we're going to see some rules, or maybe kind of some step throughs, like some scenarios, so we can actually see what the game will entail. Because I'll be honest, for me, when it comes to fleet games, it's been Spartans, Firestorm Armada, then with their Planetfall offshoot. Because I've heard nothing but good things about Planetfall. Everybody seems to love Firestorm Armada, but then at the same time, we have Drop Zone Commander trying to come up with a fleet game. So, it's been this interesting thing of one company started with the fleet, the other company started with the ground game, and now they're working their way to the other side.
And I mean, you were just talking about Spartan, so I mean, Halo fleet game just got released, so we might actually see some maybe something new from Spartan at their booth for the Halo fleet game.
Yep, and I haven't heard anything yet, but I'm very curious about the rules for the Halo fleet game, because if anybody knows Spartan games, they know that their rules are horribly written, absolutely horrible.
Well, I'm
Now
sure Halo is better.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Now, Spartan is absolutely amazing about getting facts out and updates, but what they start with is generally pretty poor. So I'm really excited to see what the actual rule set for that game looks like. Because I've seen what Spartan has done with Firestorm Armada and Planetfall and linking those together. And to be honest, I'm not hugely impressed. I think that's, Spartan did what they usually do. They kind of just started, and there's nothing that amazing yet. But in a year or two's time, it's going to be great. So is this Hawks War Games' chance to get the jump on them?
Well, it's going to be a wait and see. But I mean, they're both fine companies, both producing a great product. So I mean, it's a great time to buy into tiny little miniature ships.
I love me some spaceships, man.
So going back to Soda Pop Miniatures, they'll have their booth there, and let's show them what they've got. So here we have, so at Gen Con, the Soda Pop Ninja Division booth, they will have a Boo Booty USB drive, their Karate Fight card game, some new stuff from Relic Knights. These are not plastic. These are going to be resin sculpts. These are everything left from the first book. So these are all the characters in the first book, going to be available to order now and purchase.
And can I just say how amazing it is that all the women are wearing clothes and don't look like they're in a sexual act?
These are a little bit more classy than some other miniatures out there. I look forward to purchasing Codebreaker because I've been looking forward to that one since I received Relic Knights. And then we have Sebastian Cross, the Questing Knight, and they also have a few other things like Eldorado and Angry Sheep.
So didn't we already have a Sebastian Cross model?
They
Is this
have Sebastian Cross on his Relic, the larger vehicle. This is him as the Questing Knight, so this is him pre-vehicle.
okay? I think that's an excellent looking sculpt. So
Yep. So they also have some stuff here for Eldorado and Anima Tactics. So some pretty cool stuff. And then a new game called Deadfellas. Hopefully at Gen Con we will hear a little bit more about the new version of Relic Knights called Void Break.
is that going to be like a sequel?
That's going to be the sequel. The should have so it's probably updated the rules, some new characters. I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to come out because Relic Knights is a fun game to play. It lost a little traction post Kickstarter, but I'm hoping to see a revival here soon.
Yeah, that was a Kickstarter that I watched really excitedly. I just couldn't pull the trigger on it because there were too many of those models that I just felt I couldn't, bring home and put in front of my wife or my daughter. But I absolutely adore the rules. I think that it's a great rule set. So I'm excited to see how they're going to evolve this game. So, and also that Deadfellas that you were just showing, that looks hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, Ninja Division does put out some pretty cool games. So,
It's interesting because
yes, go ahead.
I was just going to talk about a company we all kind of worried a little bit when they had their big split with Simon a while back, but it seems like they've really been able to flourish and they're doing really well for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, especially Super Dungeon Explorer, that did a great Kickstarter. All that starting to ship. I've got my Wave 2 stuff, and yeah, looking forward to see what comes out more in the future.
Yeah. Speaking of that, let me show you this. Speaking of Super Dungeon Explorer, this is a friend of mine. She's played Super Dungeon Explorer that's a couple of times, and she with the new box set out, the old one with the dragon in it has kind of gotten a little cheaper. So she picked that up and a few other random blisters, it seems like, and she started painting. And
Looking pretty good.
This is the first miniature she has ever painted. So at first my wife showed it to me, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. And then I saw these freaking eyes and I said, oh my gosh, this girl has got talent. For her first miniature to be able to paint an eyes and face like that I think is absolutely amazing.
Some pretty good work.
Yeah, I just she's even done a little bit of highlights on the inside of the ears, and she's done teeth. There's highlights on the tongue and the mouth. So I think she's got a bright future ahead of her in this hobby if she decides to keep going with it.
Hey, then she could probably paint the rest of your stuff, like all those Malifaux figs you want to play with.
Or she could paint all of your Super Dungeon Explorer stuff that you've had for years now and haven't painted.
No, those are game pieces. They're not painting pieces.
We can play this game all you want. Should we talk about how big of a backlog we each have? Because I guarantee yours is bigger.
Mine's always bigger.
I walked right into that one, didn't I?
All right. Some other companies. So I was I was talking to Tectonic Craft Studios this past week. They do make a nice little half tray for they call it the fire team tray, and it's so you can take like your Infinity stuff to tournaments and all that. Has it all nicely stacked and has 55 mil and 40 mil bases. I contacted him, said, "Hey, this tray only has 17 25 mil base holes." I'm like, "Hey, how about making it something new with more so I can use that as a collection tray?" And so he designed one up, and hopefully we'll be seeing that previewed at Gen Con. This should have 30 plus 25 mil holes and have 40 mil base sizes and 55 mil base sizes. So it's a perfect tray to keep all your stuff in so they don't get knocked around.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what it turns out like. How's the finish on it?
He hasn't. He's teased me with it, but nothing yet. So
outstanding. Yeah, this is shaping up to be a very, very good Gen Con this year. I am very, very sad I'm not able to make this one.
Yeah, and it's Gen Con. If you've never been to it, there's a ton of stuff to do. You can play all 4 days with no sleep and still have something to do. You'll probably be a little grody and sleep deprived at the end of the 4 days, but you'll have a fun time.
Yeah, but let's be honest, we're talking about our hobby here, and so a lot of those people are like that even when they're not at Gen Con.
True. But if you're in the board games, it is the place for board games. You have a lot of older established companies there. Got a lot of new companies there. I even saw just this week, for the comic book, The Chew.
Oh yeah,
they're gonna have a card game available, and it's probably gonna be there at Gen Con. So I'm like, hey, there's all this stuff to buy at Gen Con that if I were to go, I would need probably instead of flying, just go and rent a U-Haul truck just so I can get everything I want.
yeah. You could also sleep in it too.
Probably, yeah.
That's actually giving me some very interesting ideas now. Vegas, here I come.
But yeah, if you're unable to go to Gen Con, or if you're at Gen Con, there's going to be a lot of stuff to purchase this coming week, and a lot of new information and releases that will be sure to make your wallet cry just a little bit. But it's going to be fun for the hobby, and that's always good for the rest of us. New shiny things look good on the table when you get them painted up.
Right. And so let us know in the comments below what the new shiny stuff is that you're really looking forward to. So we've talked about what our favorites are and what we're really excited about. We want to hear what has you guys going. So, and if you're going.
Yeah. Casey needs a ninja shopper, so send him an email.
Please. So, although here's something cool I found out. One thing I don't need to get. I just found out that I won a free copy of Space Hulk.
Really? How did you do that?
Okay, so...
wait, you're always winning stuff. How did you do it this time?
Okay, so this one I actually had to work a little bit for. There is a podcast called After Ulanor. For those of you guys who know about 40K, Ulanor is the big giant parade that the Emperor has during the Crusade, where he hands off command of the crusade to Horus and names him the War Master. This is also where things start going downhill. It's kind of a turning point in the 40K universe. Anyways, this podcast is essentially, it's like a book club for all the Black Library 30K Horus Heresy line. They spend a couple episodes reviewing the book. Then they have kind of like a review spacer episode where they'll talk about everything from different marks of power armor to how Space Marines are created and that sort of thing. And it's really kind of nice because one of these guys is very well read in the 40K universe and also in the Black Library. The other guy is not. So you have some really good dialogue going on between like questions and answers, and also the guy who is not well versed in 40K, he's actually an English teacher, so he's really able to do some very good literary reviews. So it's a really quality podcast. A few months back, they had a writing submission for it. They had a copy of Space Hulk, and they said, look, this is the Blood Angel Legion. We want to hear what's your favorite Legion, and tell us why that Legion is exploring or cleaning out this Space Hulk. And send in your submission. So I sent mine in, and it was picked as their favorite.
Very nice.
It was kind of fun because, like, I wrote it up, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be so amazing. I'm like, yeah, and this is cool, and that's cool, and I hit submit, and it's like, a couple hundred words, 5 or 6 paragraphs, right? Not even that, probably about 4 paragraphs. And then I started looking at everybody else, and people have written pages and pages of like in-depth minutia. And I was just like, oh, dang. Well, with mine being so short, at least I know they'll read all of it, right? So maybe that's what did it for me. Mine was the only one that made it through to the end.
See, stay in school, kids. Listen to your English teacher. You could get something great.
Yeah, so them words on the intertubes, they pay off every once in a while. So, but yeah, I think Space Hulk is really cool. I'm excited for it. So and go check out the podcast After Eleanor. So if you're really into Black Library stuff, it's worth checking out. And if you're really curious about all the Horus Heresy 30K books, but you don't have the money to go and buy them, they do a good review for it. So there you go. But that's all I've got for this week, Alan. What about you?
That's all I got this week. I mean, next week we're going to have a lot of stuff to talk about because there's going to be all those surprises that are going to come out of the woodworks, and they're going to blow us all away. But if you are going to Gen Con, or if you want to go to Gen Con, put it down in the comments below. Let us know what you think, what you hope to see, what you're going to hopefully buy. We'd love to start a conversation. But that is it for the Atomic Salt Show. Tune in next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Give us a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to see more. Casey, anything else?
That's it from me. As always, if you've got an interesting piece of information or, bless you, interesting product, feel free to send us an email at theatomicsalt@gmail.com. We're the Atomic Salt, and we hope that Gen Con blows our mind.
Very true. Have a good night, folks.